Welcome back to Absolute Comics, right here at the Absolutely channel, or live at the Comicstorian Podcast Network, twitch.tv/Comicstorian. This is the show I get together with Sal every Tuesday to discuss the latest news in the world of comic books and what is going on in the world of comic books. That's what we do around here. I was going to say set's a little different, but actually it's not. This is the right set.
This is the set.
Yeah. Don't forget to check out our sponsor, G Fuel. Use the code Comics at checkout. Get yourself some G Fuel. This right here is the Tiny Tina flavor, but I do recommend the Doctor Strange flavor. Tangerines is what it tastes like. It's really good. So, then I got Sage Mode Naruto over here too. See?
Nice.
So, do you think it's sold out yet, Sal?
I mean, you have an entire stack of G Fuel behind you.
Should I get Doritos next to it?
Hey, listen, if Doritos wants to sponsor us, I'll have Doritos behind me. Are you kidding me? No, but I mean, and
that's what I always tell everyone when they say sell out. I'm like, what do you think the end goal of all of this was? It was to get paid.
Yeah, no. You'd sell out too. If you could like go to your teaching job but wear a shirt that said like PlayStation on it and you got like nonstop games as a result, like you'd do it.
I mean, and guys, the reason I have this G Fuel is I drink the G Fuel. Like
that's true. Yeah, no. And it's I've enjoyed it myself. My team actually loves the stuff. They because I remember when we met the G Fuel guys and they were like, "Here, drink it all." We were like, "This is actually pretty good."
So, but I definitely recommend. Oh god, I'm not type. My camera goes crazy apparently when I type now.
Oh no.
Yeah. So first off, before we get into our topics of the day, we're going to be talking about Thor: Love and Thunder. A bunch of news dropped from that one. We're going to be talking about the fact that apparently Joker 2 is going to be a musical starring Lady Gaga. And we're going to talk about Squid Game. And, I want to read that last one. We'll talk about that one. Something about Black Panther. But before we get into that, Sal and I were talking about Dark Crisis before this. And we had two totally different theories. I think two things. And I want to talk. So Dark Crisis right now in the comic book world has evolved the death of Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman and a couple other characters. And everyone died. Green Arrow. I mean, yeah, but they just died. Everyone died.
They died.
So what we're looking at now is Dark Crisis is going to be headed up by this new Justice League, which is funny because it looks like the 5G leak Justice League.
Well, it doesn't because it was clearly like 5G Justice League was going to be all the new hotness. It was going to be like Far Sector Green Lantern, new non-binary Flash, Jonathan Kent Superboy, Superman, and then it was like Yara Flor Wonder Woman, and then in Dark Crisis, spoilers for Dark Crisis, but like John goes to all of them. Oh, Jace Fox Batman, he goes to all of them, and they all are like, nah.
Yeah, all of the people that were supposed to be on the league said no.
Aren't. So instead he makes this weird patchwork league that's like, I don't know, how about like 2 Blue Beetles, a couple of Booster Golds,
Supergirl. We got 2 super people on it, yeah.
Right? It's just whoever said yes. Poor Dr. Light's on that team, and she's like, I'm in a group photo. That's what I'm used for.
She's not going to be used at all in that.
Nope.
Comic.
She'll probably die. You know, like it's just, I feel bad because like that was that. I love it because that page is just like ta-da, and I remember like that when that page leaked and everyone went, "This sucks." I'm like, yeah, it's supposed to suck.
Yeah, it's supposed to be the remnants of the Justice League.
Like it's not even a Justice League you would want. Like, you know, there was a Justice League. This is going back 20 years or so, but like where Dick Grayson Nightwing was the head of the Justice League and he formed his own Justice League. And it's like, yeah, no, the Titans should be the Justice League, but they're being destroyed by Deathstroke, which is also something that fans have been begging people for forever. So here it is. Like you're getting your final showdown. You're getting like your true rematch between the Titans and Deathstroke. Go for it. Yep. So here's the rest of them.
Looking at this team, I pulled out the image to get everyone in particular. I love that a lot of the flack is going towards, why is there 2 villains on the Justice League?
Right.
Really? Killer Frost and Harley Quinn. That's going to be your arguments at these points.
You know, Killer Frost was on the Justice League, right? Like, after
not only
JLA
that, but like,
versus Suicide Squad?
What I love is that no one it's either everyone arguing that they've gone woke or that Village should be on the Justice League, and no one once has commented, Frankenstein's in the background.
Yeah.
Frankenstein.
What about Frankenstein? Agent of Shade. I mean,
I didn't even know he was still around. I thought he just
I don't think anybody knew he was still around. I mean, he doesn't have a book, but it's a team designed by a kid pretending to be Superman. I mean, not to say that like John hasn't earned the title, but I'm saying like he's like, okay, here's what I do, and everyone's told him to go away, and he's like, oh, Well, then I guess here's everyone who said yes.
That's exactly it. So
Right?
but we were thinking about where is this going to go, and my idea is that it's going to go one of two directions. We're going to do a full reboot, bringing back everyone, or playing off of one of Sal's ideas. He thinks they're Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman are going to come back at the end, and I think that they're going to go, oh, well, you guys have done well without us. We're going to leave for 52 weeks and bring back a classic line that everyone loves.
Dude, if they did bring back 52 or did a 52, that'd be amazing. I don't think DC can pull off a 52 in today's world. I think DC thoroughly lacks the coordination, publishing initiative, and leadership required to pull off a 52.
52, for those who don't know, was a storyline that happened after, I think, Final Crisis? One of the crises, Infinite. One of the crises happened, and the Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman said, we're done. We're going to take a break. Take a year off.
Taking a year off.
See if this year this world can survive without us.
Yeah.
And 52 was a weekly release telling you the stories of all the superheroes dealing with the absence of Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm.
And it was great. I loved it. It was just such a weird book.
Yeah, and there was at the same time a book called, or an initiative called 1 Year Later, where so you still had Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman books, but it was taking place after 52.
Yeah.
So everyone got what they wanted.
It was a great idea, but you know what? You're right, because I also haven't seen anything. I think the last time we had a weekly book from DC was Batman Eternal, and then Batman and Robin Eternal.
Yes, that might have been the last one.
Because there's got to be a lot of work to do that. Can you imagine that? Like, they got to get way ahead to make that even feasible.
Yeah, and I don't think they have the ability to be that ahead.
Yeah, they're in a weird spot right now with the entire creative teams leaving, changing, everything's going. It's all weird over at DC right now.
Right? Like, who's in charge?
I think Jim Lee.
Right? Uh-oh.
wait, why
uh-oh? Because I don't know what Jim Lee does.
Wasn't he chief creative? No, that was Jeff Johns.
Yeah, he's president, I think. He's one of the co-presidents, or was one of the co-presidents.
Right now, the president is Diane Nelson.
Okay, yeah, Diane Nelson. That's I don't know what that does. I don't know what that job is. Because like, it ain't editor-in-chief, it ain't chief creative officer, and it ain't publisher. So, what does that job do? I'm not suggesting that Diane Nelson isn't doing anything. She's actually a really terrific person to be in that role. If I knew what the hell that role did. And I'm not saying the role isn't real. I'm saying that I just don't know the hierarchy. And I know that both Marvel and DC were really good at, and when I say they were really good, I mean really just they were good at hiring people who knew the business well enough to do what DiDio and Quesada did, which was put themselves at the fore and be like, I'm the person you yell at, you blame for, you complain at,
and did a good job with that.
Right, and dictate the line. Like, love him or hate him, both Quesada and DiDio, those were the head honchos as far as DC and Marvel were concerned about like dictating where the line was going, ushering new initiatives, hyping people up, and taking blame and assigning duties. Now it's like a free-for-all.
I'm trying to find like a list, but like other than Jim Lee and Diane, I can't find anyone.
Yeah, even Marie Javins is one of the I think
even the LinkedIn was just kind of confusing and hiding. Like half of them are like story writers. Like, well, that's a writer who's a contractor, not a DC employee.
Yeah, and it's not like back in the day when like Scott Snyder was not an editor in any way, but also clearly dictated where the direction of DC Comics was going.
Oh yeah. I mean, I hate to kind of like give all the credit to one man, but I really, as much as everyone hated Dan DiDio and like the Scott Snyder era, like Jeff Johns' Scott Snyder era was incredible. Like between the two of them, they knew what was happening. New 52 all the way up to where we got to. We need that back. And I really hope that this whole Jeff Johns writing stuff again and kind of piecing things together again. I hope that's kind of like, look, we're just going to bring them back. Just call it a day.
Well, I don't think we're going to. I think because we have two completely different universe affecting events going on, like Flashpoint Beyond and Dark Crisis, and they couldn't be more different and they couldn't be less involved with each other. Like,
but what if Flashpoint Beyond causes the Dark Crisis? Is what one of the
It's not, because in Flashpoint Beyond number 2 or 3, Psycho Pirate, who is completely different from the Psycho Pirate from Justice League Incarnate, goes to the Flashpoint universe to hide from the Dark Crisis. But
what's even more confusing with Psycho Pirate?
Yeah.
Did you read Detective Comics Arkham: A Shadow of the Bat?
No.
It's a storyline involving Arkham Tower where they're using Psycho Pirate to manipulate.
They can't. They
And
can't
here's
because
the best
Psycho
part.
Pirate, yeah.
The Arkham Tower storyline just ended.
Because Psycho Pirate also, he works for the Great Darkness. Like, he's a completely different look and power set and name. And then they said he's over in Flashpoint Beyond. Then
He's at Arkham Tower.
Yeah, he's also in Arkham Tower, but I don't want to spoil Flashpoint Beyond, but like, let's just say he ain't making it out, and then has the audacity to say, I don't even know if I am the real Psycho Pirate. And I'm like, well, then what is he doing here, and why did he reference the Dark Crisis?
Can we talk about something real quick?
Yeah.
When did Psycho Pirate become a thing that everyone wants to use?
Right. Well, they used him during The Button and Rebirth. Like, Psycho
But that's what I
Pirate
mean. But he's like, since when is he supposed to be some big bad threat that keeps coming back?
He's not a threat, but he's a plot device that is a holdover from Crisis. Like the first Crisis, Psycho Pirate is the only one who remembers the universe as it was. And that, like, because Psycho Pirate, nobody's going to tell a Psycho Pirate miniseries to do an ongoing, and no one's going to buy Psycho Pirate action figures since the last release. Like, you can use him as a harbinger, not to be confused with Harbinger, a character from Crisis who also harbinges. But like, you could use Psycho Pirate, right? Like, but you could use Psycho Pirate to like indicate, oh, things are getting serious right now. Just like Pariah used to show up in, like, not unlike how the Watcher would show up in Marvel events to show you things are getting serious.
Yeah. Oh no, the Watcher's here.
Yeah, but like, oh no, Psycho Pirate's laughing or crying or masturbating or whatever. Like, that meant Psycho Pirate, like, oh, things are happening, or Pariah for that matter. And in this one, both Psycho Pirate and Pariah are used to show you this is serious and important, and yet we're in this place where it's like, what's going to happen at the end of Dark Crisis? Nobody knows, and there's no writing on the wall. Like, what's the fallout of Dark Crisis? What's the next thing? What are you selling me after this? What are you selling after the result? I don't think Dark Crisis is supposed to set up anything. I think Dark Crisis is supposed to be like, yo, I think we need to celebrate what DC is all about. We need to talk about the totemic and thematic elements that make up the DC universe and what it means to me. And here it is. But it's not also going to be like hamstrung into a half-hearted reboot like Flashpoint was into New 52, nor is it a complicatedly ornate initiative like Rebirth that was hamstrung halfway through because Johns lost his job afterwards.
Yeah.
Like, and so I don't know, man. It's a mess.
Johns didn't lose his job. The problem with Rebirth
he left.
Well, he left because of the movies. Like, the problem with what happened with Rebirth and Jeff Johns is he was doing a great job of like keeping things on track in New 52, got all the way to Rebirth. Then they brought him in to do the movies, and it was like, all right, well, fuck comics. I'm in the movies now.
Right.
So, and that was the issue with that.
Right. Yeah.
But I don't know. It's interesting to see what they're doing with Dark Crisis. I want to see how this is going to pan out. I like big earth-shattering events. The only big issue I have with this is we really just got out of Metal, because the problem is I know Metal was 2 years ago and happened during COVID.
Yeah.
During the height of COVID. But we haven't really had anything happen since then.
No. Well, there's been certainly, the thing is, I wonder how much meta reading takes place from the audience and how that affects the line. Like, Joshua Williamson could really Didio it up and like throw his weight around and be like, this is the biggest effing thing. Like, really hype people up, get people like freaking out. But I think he's too modest and he's too professional and he's too excited about just writing. He's a writer, so he's just like, he goes on podcasts and he does his thing, but like he's not as in your face as the other guys were when they were like, I'm kicking the door in and you better just deal with the fact that the DC universe is irreparably changed. And poor Josh Williamson is just like, I think it's really cool that like DC has like legacies and like sidekicks, and so let's celebrate that. And it's like, it's less sexy to be like, hey, let's celebrate the good, as opposed to like, I'm setting everything on fire, middly mew. Like, that is that is all Metal. Metal is just like, it's all Flash, but not Flash though. Like, Flash is boring.
Yeah, Flash isn't here. Except we'll do a speed metal thing where they just run. It's really
right. Well, and you know who wrote that? Josh Williamson. Like, well, you could deal with the Flashes, I don't know.
It's just, I don't know. It's an interesting situation that we are with Dark Crisis. I really want to see what's happening. Like, I'm just trying to think of things that have happened since then. The biggest thing, honestly, has been, and that has kind of linked a lot of things together, has been actually the Lazarus resin. Because it showed up in Robin. It's doing things in Task Force Z. It's
that's
leading
true.
to Batman stuff. It's brought in Deathstroke. But basically, the Bat family has had some stuff happening.
Yeah.
And the rest of DC is kind of spinning its wheels and just kind of waiting around.
Well, and here's the thing, man. Because I think that where we are right now, for all my complaining about like how it's, and not really complaining, but more like criticism about the fact that like they're not making it big enough, it is cohesive. Like Infinite Frontier went into Justice League Incarnate, went into this. Robin went into the Shadow War, into this. Like everything seemingly.
Even Task Force Z is like, you can see where they got it from in Robin, but Task Force Z is linear, and it's going to lead into this. The only thing that doesn't seem to be agreeing is Joker right now.
Right.
But we'll give them the one mess up with Bane. We'll just give them the one. We'll give them.
No one's complaining. Like it's whatever. You could very easily explain that. And I think they did, but like it seemingly is all connected and it is leading towards this, but there's not a lot of like, you know what it is? I think like part of it is like the engine of DC Comics is not behind it. Like it or leave it. I mean, everybody had an opinion about Dr. Manhattan being in the DC universe, but DC spared no expense. And I don't necessarily even mean financially, but like they certainly put a lot of hype behind it. Like there was a lot of like drumming up support, like this is the biggest thing. Look at this. Like you can't avoid it. It is where everything is going. This is just kind of like, here's the story, and it's connected, and it celebrates the history of DC, and I think that's another part of it is there are two very distinctively different DC fandoms. Like there's new DC fans, and then there's like legacy DC fans, and new DC fans are conditioned on Scott Snyder stuff like Metal, and it's like the next big thing leading into the next big thing. New 52, Rebirth, all of it actually is connected because it's like it's all part of the engine that is DC Comics' current continuity and publishing initiative, where it's like, what's the next thing? And the next thing is bigger and bigger and bigger. And then there's the other group that's like, I just wish Superman would smile more. And it's like, and that's not sexy enough, and it's not like it's not big enough. It's not going to get a lot of headlines. It's not going to get a lot of clicks. But yeah, I feel like we're in a weird place, and my wife Tiffany would blame the fact that I think it's just we're too far gone. We've been beaten too badly by the biggest, most important thing in the universe, in the multiverse ever, so that by the time we come into like, hey, this Dark Crisis, and it's just a thing, and it's like, you've asked too much of me. Like we've all like I'm out of hype. I'm out of I'm fatigued.
That's what
I'm tired.
I think comics in general have run out of hype, but I've said that before because like Spider-Man Beyond happened, and love it or hate it, no one talked about it.
Nobody talked about it. It was not
like. It's fine. Everyone can shit on it, but like everyone was shitting all over Nick Spencer's run when it started. Yeah. Oh, we're Spider-Man ever. But like by the time we got to the ending, no one cared.
No.
Like we're just in a TikTok day and age where everything has to be 60 seconds. I just had a buddy tell me that I should just make the full stories into 800 parts on a short channel. And I'm like, you're not wrong.
Like, would that work? Yeah. Like you have to
800 injustice parts.
Right before you'd be like, no, but now you're like, I mean, would that work? Like you have to at least consider it.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, let's move into our actual topics because we're a little bit shorter today because we had to cram a lot of stuff in today. All right, so anyway, Joker 2 has apparently been flagged as a musical starring Lady Gaga.
Yeah. Now, okay, is it that they said or implied or suggested that it would be a musical, or is it that they heard that Lady Gaga was in talks to play Harley, so people assumed that she would be singing?
Supposedly, it actually is going to be a musical. Now, I think the problem here is everyone assumes musical is like, ha, 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 da, da, da,
right.
I'm Joker and I've got the acid. Like,
yeah.
It's not always a musical. They might just have like a couple songs in it. And
yeah. I mean, like, if it was like Sweeney Todd, but the Joker.
Yeah.
I mean, on one hand, this is one of those things where, people are complaining that like the Marvel movies and stuff are homogenized and it's all one thing. And like, we need competition and we need like new ideas. Here's your new idea.
Yeah.
Super villain musical movies.
And you're trying to get Joaquin Phoenix to come back. And that guy is probably not coming back for just a Joker sequel.
For just more Joker. Yeah, I don't think so.
I also wonder, what were they even going to do with Joker 2? I mean, it made way too much money to not get a sequel. But how do you tell another story in that world that was created there?
I don't know.
Without it just being, and now he fights Batman. Like,
well, but Batman was born in that movie, so it's like you'd have to be older. It would have to you'd have to wait, 20 years before Batman even shows up. So you have a 20-year gap of Joker, I guess, just being a celebrity within the criminal underworld. I mean, you could do the Joker book, but sans Batman.
Right.
I don't want a Joker sequel, but if you gotta do it, and you gotta make it this thing that's like so divorced from anything else that it's just like it can only be looked at as Joker 2 the musical, and it's not connected to anything. I mean, go for it. Weird.
I'll watch it either way. One, because it's my job. Two, because I'm curious.
Like,
what
if
the movie opens up and Joker snaps and everything's a musical to him now?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised based on the ending of that movie, because there is a heavy dose of like, is this happening, or is this in his mind? Not all of it, but like there's certainly a cracked mirror reality in his own narrative. Like, yeah, there's some heavy implications of darkness with an overlay of insanity / like reality warping in his own mind. So yeah, I mean, I could see it being like, I could see this being Sucker Punch, where it's like, yeah, I see where this is going. Yeah,
Sucker Punch is incredible. I don't care what people say. I love Sucker Punch.
Sucker Punch is a terrible movie.
It's a great movie.
It's a great music video. But I think that like Sucker Punch is one of those things where you were like, okay, so yeah, like the whole thing is the whole thing's an interpretive thing of her journey to escape from the hospital, and she's going to get lobotomized. Like it's just one flew of the cuckoo's nest with more like with 100% more cool steampunk machine guns and stuff. I can see this whole thing being like, yeah, no, like the whole movie is a metaphor for Joker going in for a lobotomy.
Yeah.
And then at the end it's like, whoa, I didn't see that ending coming, because I've never read a book or an article about a book in my life. I mean,
it's like that one book of Moon Knight. It's like Moon Knight.
It's like Moon Knight. That would be the worst. That'd be the most egregious. But yeah, I could definitely see that being. It's too juicy and lucrative to ignore. Like, especially for that director, like that creative team who worked on Joker. I would never put past the idea of doing something as obvious as as deliberately trying to make a kind of subversive. I mean, the whole movie is like a weird interpretation of Taxi Driver. So it's like, well, here's a weird interpretation of, West Side Story or whatever, with the misery and the depressiveness and the creepiness of the Joker that we've created. So yeah, I mean, like,
I
makes
could see
sense
it working,
to me.
and I could see it not being entirely terrible. I mean, the initial reaction is like it's gonna be like that Avengers musical that's in a couple of the episodes of like Hawkeye and stuff like that.
Yeah,
like that's the initial reaction apparently people have. Like, oh my god, it's gonna be a Broadway play about the Joker. No,
right? No. It's gonna be like Cats, but like with hopefully fewer buttholes in it.
Reference.
I think it should be like Cats, because Cats
with more buttholes or less buttholes.
I mean, hopefully more, because like because they digitally removed them. # release the butthole cut. But I mean, like, it's a Tennessee Williams play. Like, Cats is basically like is such a good template for a Joker movie, because it's like, it's interpretive. It's got super dark overtones. I mean, it's about mass suicide. Like, it's
right.
So the Joker movie, it's not going to be like the Batman musical in Batman Beyond, where Batman is like singing and dancing. I do think it would be more like Sweeney Todd, Cats, where it's like, it's dark, it's atmospheric, it's moody, it's like, who knows if it's gonna, but if they're gonna get anybody, they should get Baz Luhrmann to do it, because Baz Luhrmann made Moulin Rouge, and knows how to make.
Moulin Rouge is great. I love that one.
Right, knows how to make a 90-minute musical that everyone knows the ending to, but you watch it anyway.
Yeah.
The other question is, are they going to write their own music? Are they going to use other songs? Like,
I mean, people forget, but Joaquin Phoenix, wasn't he in Hurt, the Johnny Cash story? And he sang in that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, he is a singer. So, like, getting Lady Gaga and Joaquin Phoenix, like, you could do worse than getting real singers to be in your movie about singing. I mean, I need to know more, right? Because, like, the implication, I mean, they haven't even locked in Lady Gaga yet.
Yeah.
So, like, we have no idea.
It'll be interesting that they're really just making this other universe with Harley Quinn and Joker, because we still technically have Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, and I guess we have that new Batman version of Joker, and we technically still have Jared Leto. Someone still got him paid.
So the fact is, Jared Leto would be happy to come back as Joker.
Jared
after
Leto
Morbin
has turned
time.
into such a joke.
Yeah.
After his Joker into his Morbius, it's not Morbin time for him.
No, or it's always Morbin time, which, as far as I can tell, is being duped into losing money on a movie that you lost money on.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, man. I mean, I got to know more, because...
Yeah. That's true. We need more context to really judge if this is going to be good or bad.
Yeah. I mean, it is. It is. There's hype. There's people, I'm sure, that are vehemently defending it. So right now you're in a good place where, just saying Joker 2 will be a musical. That's all you need to say. That's like all the promotion you need to make for this movie. Like, you could go shoot the movie now, and you're done with marketing. Just occasionally releasing like a costume image or a behind the scenes photo. People will be like, okay, like, I'm going, I need to know the music too. The music is key.
I mean, that's why Sweeney Todd is still good. I love Sweeney Todd because the music's amazing. Good.
Yeah.
But let's move on to the next topic here. Thor Love and Thunder, which apparently is going to encompass 7 years of Jason Aaron's run in the comic books, is only going to be 1 hour and 119 minutes.
Yeah.
So literally a minute under the 2-hour marker. I legit do not think that's enough time to properly do any justice to the story.
I mean, there's no way they're going to just do that. Like, they can't possibly do all of Aaron's run in 2 hours.
They're gonna massively alter it, because we already know that there's a Guardians of the Galaxy moment. We got to go into Gore and why Gore matters. We already know he's going to like different gods and stuff like that. We already know Jane Foster. Yeah. So I'm just wondering if we're just gonna skip everything with Jane Foster. She's just gonna be there, and the answer is gonna be, "Oh, I found a hammer." That's it.
I mean, at the end of what you just described is there's 3 things, right? Like, you have not even the first act. The opening number is the Guardians thing. You move on. Now Thor's looking for a new place to go, like a new direction for himself. Then you immediately introduce Gore. Gore and all of his buildup could be like a B plot to the entire movie until the finale. Like, Gore doesn't need to encounter Thor until the last 15 to 20 minutes of the movie.
Right.
Like, he could just be this like looming force that we keep checking in with and seeing how formidable and scary and devastating he is, and how that factors into Thor's existential crisis of like, am I a god? What do I do? What's my purpose? Like, I'm not ruler of Asgard. Asgard doesn't exist. It's this place on Earth. It's got its own leader. Am I even Thor? And then finding out that Mjolnir is reassembled and that someone else, his ex-girlfriend, has it. Like, that's not heavy. It's not meaty. So you could do that as a main plot, as just the next thing. Like, the next thing is just like, and then Jane. And it's like, what? And Jane just being like, you left. Like, Jane being like a physical metaphor for Thor's inability to commit to any stability in his life. Yeah, like, I abandoned Asgard, and then I let it get destroyed, and then I reestablished it here, and while it was being built, I got drunk. Like, that was it.
Fortnite.
I played Fortnite the whole time, and then I left again, and I got ripped, but like, to help the Guardians do what, And then she shows up, she's like, we were together, and then you left, and I got
cancer.
He
needs it like 7 years, 7 days, or whatever, like that he's counting the days.
Exactly. Like, and it's like, okay, so you remember how long it's been, but like, you didn't call, right? Like, show up. You did nothing to check in with me, and so like, you have to account for that. And it's like, that's an interesting thing, and it represents the whole like theme of gods, because if God's created humans, do they have a responsibility to them? Is God like a clockmaker? Does God like just go, oh, here's humanity, good luck? And it's like, what kind of God is that? Like, and that's what Gore's whole thing is about. Like, I prayed and they didn't come and save my family, like, and now I'm gonna kill you. That seems pretty straightforward to me, and especially
do you think they could just get it all crammed in there without I mean, I want to say that I'm worried about it, but at the same time, Taika Waititi is doing it. I've yet to see a movie by him I disliked.
Right, exactly, and I don't think it's going to. I mean, look, regardless of them completely lifting Ribick's art, just lifting it and putting it up on the screen, I would not expect a 1-to-1, and I know you don't because like you live and breathe. But like I would temper my expectations about whether you're gonna get the 7-year run of Gore and Thor and Jane Foster's whole thing. Like you're not. You're getting a new thing, and it's going to be a straight up reinterpretation of a lot of stuff. And I'm sure Gore will die at the end. So it's like,
well, it's MCU. I'm almost positive he will die.
So this is all the Gore you're gonna get, and so you're either happy with that, comfortable with that, or not. But these are the realities that we are in, where it's like, this movie is going to be about Thor's journey. Movies are about the protagonist, their beginning, middle, and end, and how they are changed at the end of the movie from where they started the movie. So, like, if none of that stuff factors in, then it's not going in. You know, it's just going to be visuals and, you know, and whatever services the plot that Taika and company are working towards. So, I'm actually a little glad that it's a little short.
Like,
well, no, I'm not defending it, but I am saying like it's you can't just keep going. It's not like the comics because it's not. And
no, we've proven that because the villains, we don't have Ultron anymore. Like Ultron at this point would have had like 8 returns. Like we don't have that. So.
Ultron was in the internet. You mean to tell me he didn't go anywhere else? Like, oh no, we broke all of his Ultrons, so that's the end of it. Like, what? Like, you locked me out of the internet. Oh, and you didn't make copies of yourself on the other side of the firewall? Like, for real? Like, that's ridiculous. No, Ultron should be a space villain now. You know, like, that'd be awesome. And maybe one day they'll do that, you know? But, like, I just feel like this is, because it's a comic book show, we can actually say this. And we're not just preaching to a group of people who are like, I don't care. If you want a really awesome story about this, there's a comic book that's way better.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And it's won awards. Like, you don't need the validation of it moving and sounding in your ears for it to be rewarding and fulfilling. Like, so here's a reinterpretation of that comic book series that's dope AF, and it won't be anything like it. But it doesn't.
What I like about
don't
that
like
is that
hate
I
it
won't know
because
what's
it's not.
coming. Like,
That's
you and
true.
I can kind of actually be surprised.
Exactly.
Because early when they would almost 1-for-1 do the comics, it was the same problem I have with a lot of times when I read a bunch of manga.
Yeah.
And then the anime is a 1-for-1 translation. I'm like, well, now the fight sequences are cooler, but I know what's gonna happen, so I don't care.
Right. And it doesn't change anything because the context to set up the God Butcher is non-existent in this universe. Like, it's a different Thor.
Yeah.
I'm excited that it's shorter because I think they need to be. But again, it's almost
in
2
general,
hours.
I've discovered in general movies are getting longer and longer.
Yes.
I'm assuming to make your cinema experience even better. But,
which, I mean, like, you're paying out the ass for it, so you might as well make it longer.
Yeah,
I'm
not against that. So it going shorter is a little bit odd, but I'm not against it because I'll see how it plays out. And like I said, I have faith in this director. I've loved everything he's made. So
yeah,
and I've loved all the Thors, even Dark World. So screw you, Dark World haters.
Listen, clearly the MCU likes it because it was like the fulcrum upon which all of Endgame rested for some reason.
You know why? Because like this is the movie everyone watched the least. So let's make that super important.
Yeah.
To boost up sales.
Reorders of Thor: The Dark World Blu-rays. I doubt.
All right, next up on the topic here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Next up on the topic, we have the Miss Marvel directors are the ones that signed on to be on the Batgirl movie. And when they told Kevin Feige, he was nothing but excited for them, stating that having competition will make them stronger. I love that he looks at it this way because I agree. There should be competition in things. And the problem is, Marvel is trouncing everything from other superhero movies to other franchises. Do you guys realize the only franchise that actually gives competition to the MCU is freaking Fast and the Furious?
Right.
That is the only franchise that competes with this in terms of box office revenue. Like, what is that? And I love Fast and the Furious for the record. I love that franchise.
I know, yeah. But, like, it's true. And, I do agree that it's not just like direct 1-to-1 competition, because I think Fast and the Furious is like a 1-to-1 competitor for Marvel because it's like exactly as nutritious. But hopefully, if like Warner Brothers can actually step up their game as far as like innovation and execution, they can hold Marvel to a new or better standard, and we can get better Marvel movies as a result. Because like, I don't know about you, But like these Disney Plus shows are getting worse and worse. I mean, like Ms. Marvel notwithstanding, because Ms. Marvel has like an actual creative direction, and it's going in places where I'm like, it doesn't look cheap. It doesn't feel hollow. It's like the creators of the Ms. Marvel show are like, let's make this show, and this is the direction, this is the tone, this is the feel, and it's like there are lines directed from the comic books, but they work within the context of the show itself, and you're like, oh, that's great. But like, you know, there are big blemishes in Loki, despite that being atmospheric and awesome, and having a really like terrific style. There's issues, Moon Knight across the board. The Doctor Strange movie, you know, bleh.
Yeah.
I feel like Marvel could use a little fear of God.
So I want to, because I know someone's going to quote me on, like, what are you talking about Fast and the Furious? I was getting the numbers to give you right now, and I 100% agree they need to fear God. The Marvel franchise, MCU franchise movie box office has made 28 films and grossed $26 billion. Okay?
There you go. Okay.
So now this is why I say that this is the only thing really competing with it in terms of movie box office.
Yeah.
I had the numbers. There it is. The box office of the Fast and the Furious franchise, which right now I believe has 10 movies, is just under $6 billion.
Yeah. Less investment. Like
they have less movies, and their box office is comparable.
Is just about as comparable. Yeah, that's kind of amazing.
Yeah, and that's why I say Fast and the Furious is the only thing out there right now that can give it a run for its money.
Yeah.
Harry Potter had a shot at getting to it because out of its, I believe, 8 movies?
Yeah, 8 movies, I think.
8 movies that made $9.6 billion, but Harry Potter is... No, because now they're counting the new ones. So even more. So Fast and the Furious, and I guess maybe Wizarding World, depending on how you want to quantify that, are the only competition, but I guarantee you that the latest movies did not make any of that really did.
No, that's the other thing is that those new movies are like a completely different thing.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean, somebody mentioned Star Wars. I'm like, that's the same studio.
Star Wars' box office?
You're like Star Wars. Yeah, Star Wars' box office is not comparable to Fast and the Furious.
It's $10 billion for how many movies? That's like 11, 12.
Right?
And that doesn't, and I'm sure that includes box office revenue of re-releases. Fast and the Furious has not hit re-releases. They just keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. But also it doesn't matter because it's like, it's still all Disney. Like it's all their money. You know, they're not going to compete with themselves.
But yeah, and the point is of this entire discussion here is the thing that can compete with Disney is because you want competition to make your movies better. If DC can make superhero movies that are breaking 500 million to $1 billion on a regular basis,
right?
That's competition for the MCU finally.
Yeah, that is the shot in the arm they need to like innovate, be more creative, maybe look over the desk at what they're doing on their term paper. Like there's
And for the record, everyone's trying to give me different numbers of different movies. What I'm looking at is movies that are currently active, franchises that are currently active. So, yes, you could look at other things. Pokemon's one of the biggest things in general, and their box office is huge. Like, I mean, you could easily... I think the biggest thing ever is Garfield, if you're actually curious. But
there you go. Okay.
Did you not know about that? Did you not know Garfield?
I did not.
Actually, one of the highest grossing things ever created. Hello Kitty's one of the highest grossing things ever created.
Well,
like the MCU has made $47 billion, but that includes arcade games, licensed merchandising. Like,
yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes into these things. So
exactly.
I'm just looking at current franchise versus current franchise. You know what's currently coming out every year without a stop? DC movies, Fast and the Furious movies, MCU movies.
Exactly.
Yes. No, the biggest franchise in the world, if you compass for everything, just to help you guys figure this out, is Pokemon. 110 billion. The second place right now is Hello Kitty. Where did I hear about Garfield? Garfield is huge. I know that.
Yeah. That's funny. I mean, Pokemon, yeah. That's why I was like
the biggest in the world.
That's why I was so surprised that it took so long to get a live action movie out of Detective Pikachu, and why we didn't immediately get like a whole franchise out of that movie series. Because
their box office take is only 1.8 billion total, and that's across all the cartoon movies and everything. So that's why their money is not even in their video games. Holy crap. Just for fun little tidbits here, Pokemon's merchandising is worth 82 billion. Pokemon's
the
video games are 27 billion.
That's amazing. People would rather buy Pokemon toys or merchandise than a video game.
You want to hear something else that's actually funny and relates to our show here? Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man, notoriously, Sony only owns the movie rights, while all merchandising is still owned by Marvel, which is now owned by Disney. Have you ever wondered why Disney doesn't care about just straight up off throwing money at the Spider-Man problem? The merchandise sales are worth 17 billion. The box office sales are worth 9.
Wow. Yeah. So it's like, go ahead, make a movie. I don't care.
I don't give a shit. Make whatever you want. It's fine. We'll help you so they're better. How about that?
Yeah, because your movie is basically a commercial for all of our toys and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's true.
So that's like, people don't realize this. Movies and video games are fun, but it's all about them merchandise after the fact sales. That's what it all comes down to.
Yeah. George Lucas.
What did I hear about Garfield? I read something about Garfield that's so much bigger than he thought. And I remember hearing they said it was the biggest. It must be the biggest in a certain category.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah.
I mean, certainly
because it wasn't even on that list, so it's not on the overall world sales.
Right.
So anybody, before you correct me in the comments, I just corrected myself.
Yeah,
anyway.
There. It's not Garfield.
Netflix is going to do a new Squid Game, which we assumed was going to happen.
Yeah. Of course.
This one's going to be a reality TV show. They're going to pit 456 players against one another to a prize of 4.5 million. Players are going to compete in numerous games inspired by the original. Whoa. So they're going to move forward on their own sequel to Squid Game without the guy.
I see.
I don't know. It's going to be a real reality show is what they're doing.
Yes, and it's going to be like an actual so you could be in it.
Yeah, and I like how Dan put this here. It sounds like they saw Mr. Beast's recreation and wanted to do their own official version of this.
100%. There's no way they didn't.
His recreation. I don't know how true this is because I heard it through hearsay. From what I understand, got more views than Squid Game, which is Netflix's biggest property right now.
That would be, it's amazing because I'm shocked that like YouTube didn't go, keep doing that.
He is. I don't know if you're aware of this. He's recreating Willy Wonka now.
I saw a thumbnail of that and I was like, I don't even know what I'm looking at.
He's showing the behind the scenes stuff right now. They're recreating Willy Wonka. I don't know if it's a game show or what.
Right, like what does that mean? Remaking Willy Wonka?
No,
like, is he going to have a chocolate factory?
They are spending millions of dollars to make a Willy Wonka chocolate factory.
Right, but like to what end? Are they going to make their own candy? I know he's making wells, across the world.
It's not a game show. Squid Game was a game show.
Right. Yeah, there's games and prizes. Willy Wonka is like a horror show for children about watching. It's a morality play about not being greedy or gluttonous.
I don't know what they're going to do, but he's remaking that. And I just Googled it. His video, $456,000 real life Squid Game, 257 million views.
Wow. Damn.
On a 25-minute video. Do you have any idea how much money Mr.
that
Beast
pulled
made
in? Right? Yeah.
That video alone, and I'm
money.
I'm not joking. Okay? That video alone, he must have made easily 500,000 to 2 million.
Yeah.
Because YouTube's world works on different ads, premium ads, regular ads. I guarantee
he's got the highest level. There's no way he doesn't have the cream of the crop.
The money he gave away, he probably doubled in that video.
Exactly. No, he made a net profit of giving away $400,000. Amazing.
But yeah, it's funny that Netflix is just going to do their own. Like, I wonder if they even went to Mr. Beast. Like, can we just buy the set?
This? I'm sure they approached him and they were like, and he's like, why would I let you?
Yeah.
Like, when I could just do it myself and keep it all.
Right.
Good luck, Netflix. I love that Netflix was like, we're not doing these vanity projects. We're going to trim back, we scale back, save some money, and also make this Squid Game show that won't do well.
I will repeat this line from our chat over here, Sal. I don't know if you're aware of this, but I've seen interviews with him. Mr. Beast doesn't actually keep much of that money.
No, I've heard that.
It's mostly reinvested back into either giveaways or improving his projects.
Right, exactly.
Which I will say, not to toot my own horn, I do a very similar thing. That's why whenever people are like, oh, you've been doing this for a while and you should be super well off. And I'm like, no, because I put it back to the staff and growing the channels and stuff like that. But I'm on a much smaller scale.
Yes, more scaled back, certainly.
I'm not dealing with $1 million a video.
Yeah, it's not like like when Mr. Beast like does those money drops or giveaways and he just scoops up whatever's left and he puts it in his bank account. Like,
oh, you guys missed 20 over here. Well, I'm putting it back in there.
yeah. Oh, it's amazing. I've never seen anything like it.
So, all right, last topic on here is Wakanda Forever has finally had the first 2 looks arrive online. Okay, I'm just going to pull this up. So, the Twitter picture.
Oh, yeah.
So, it's just Okoye.
Mm-hmm. And
Shuri with a new haircut.
Cool. Like, yeah, okay. I mean, like, we haven't seen anything. And they changed the name of the movie.
Did they? Oh, just a Wakanda Forever?
Now it's called Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Like, I don't remember what the hell they called it originally. I think it was just called Black Panther 2, or that was the plan, but now it's Wakanda Forever.
I legit, and this is my current theory, with
Yeah.
everything that they're doing just to get this out there to make money,
Yeah.
I foresee this being one of the first bombs, like actual bombs in the MCU.
I think it'll
Like
have
not like, oh, we disliked it, or
No.
this portion also didn't like it, or we can argue about Dark World or Moon Knight or Doctor Strange. I feel like this may be one of the first ones where the audience in general is going to be like, that is not Chadwick Boseman. You should have just replaced the situation.
Yep.
What? This movie's terrible.
I think it'll have a crazy big opening weekend and probably, like you said, like one of the biggest drop-offs of opening weekend history.
Oh, yeah. I think it's so. Everyone's going to wonder what they're doing.
Yeah.
And they are way too quiet for this to be what people want them to do.
They're so quiet, and they have had so many disruptions and so much tumult that my guess is, it's like when they made Jurassic Park 3. And it was like, oh, Spielberg was going to direct. Nah, I'm not going to direct. Nah. And then it was like, oh, it's going to be this movie. And then they completely changed it like weeks before production and just were like, make it work. And it's like, technically a movie came out, but it is the worst one of the franchise and no one liked it, because
you
it was
haven't
trying
seen the new one. Trust me, it wins.
Oh,
worse.
I know. I've heard. Yeah. I firmly don't believe Jurassic Park is a film franchise. Like, I don't think it counts because to have a film franchise, people have to want to see them. And I don't think there hasn't been like a unanimous consent about Jurassic Park since 1. Like ever since
Jurassic
2, people
World,
were like,
everyone liked. Like whenever they did the theme park.
Yeah, when they
The
that's
problem is
Jurassic
they
World.
try to franchise it, and they know the theme park only works max
Once.
twice.
Yeah,
I mean,
but they only did it the
World
one time, and it was like, you broke the park at the end? That was your only thing. But with this, it's like, I think it's just they're just like, get the money, get out. Like, we'll figure it out. And we'll gauge public reaction to it.
Yep.
and figure out what to do
and
afterwards.
Just sweep it under the rug if it's terrible.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Like they seem to be doing with Eternals, but
I mean, yeah, well, Eternals was one of those things where I think with Eternals they were like, we've got this. Like this was their like, we can do no wrong. Let's be creative and let's try something very different. Oops, never mind. Like, oh no. But yeah, with this, I genuinely, we've talked about this before, the fact that like everyone was like, please just wait. We need to rush Black Panther 2. And they're like,
we don't have to rush it. Recast, like, just take your time.
Yeah, take your time. Figure it out. Figure out what you want to do with it. And they were like, never. And it's like, okay.
Which I find weird because they keep postponing everything else. But Black Panther 2 is on track. Like,
right. Like, what? Like, why? Just wait. And they're like, no. Like, we have. And it's like, do you have a vision that's that strong when you had to completely retool it? Because you had to completely retool it. So how could it be that strong if you don't actually have like a complete story? I don't know. It's weird, but like I'm excited for it because on one hand, because like good, this movie should be out. But on the other hand, it's like I'm just morbidly curious about like what they assembled out of this.
That's what we all are. We all are. But we're going to bring this episode to a close because Dan's got to take off in 10 minutes and he's watching behind the scenes here. And I am 20 minutes late to my other stuff. He's smiling at me like, thank you for remembering. Or he's smiling at me like you're a jackass. I don't know. He's smiling. But anyway, thank you guys for watching today's Absolute Comics. Ran a little bit later than usual, but I hope you guys enjoyed. I am Benny. That is Sal. And you can catch us literally on a daily basis over at Absolutely Marvel and DC. Also, don't forget to check out our sponsor, G Fuel, who the reason they're here, in all honesty, we made the joke about selling out. I didn't explain. They like what we do so much, they upped their sponsorship. That's why this is here. Like, they like it. So please, if you like energy drinks, check them out. If you don't like energy drinks, keep your mouth shut. Anyway. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. I appreciate all the support we have over here. If you're listening to us on Spotify, please consider giving us a high rating, and we'll see you next time right here.